Hello everyone and welcome to our first lesson, Key to IELTS Writing Task 2. And in this lesson, I'm going to learn with you guys some information which is related to IELTS Writing Task 2. And I hope you found enjoy and found some useful stuff. And today with you guys, Asalbek Kurbanov. Yeah, let's get into it. Lesson 1. What skills do you need to show? Task response and coherence and cohesion. The most common problems in sample answers found online are connected to task response and coherence and cohesion, and many of those that claim to be band 9 actually show band 6 in these areas. This might suggest that these criteria are simply poorly understood by a closer investigation reveals a more complex issue. The four criteria used to assess your answer tell us what examiner is looking for in your writing. It is these criteria that make the test as objective as possible. These should be seen as a rules that you must not try to bend or break. According to the band descriptors for task response, the key problems at band 6 are the first one, not addressing all parts of the task equally. It means address all parts of the task, though some parts may be more fully covered than others. The second one, not making your position clear, which means position is a clear throughout from band 7 and conclusions clear. The conclusions may be unclear or repetitive. The third one, not developing and explaining your main ideas. Some may be inadequately developed or unclear. So try to be more precise what you are going to explain. Yeah. In coherence and cohesion, a comparison of bands 6 and 7 shows that the main problems are arranging the information coherently, band 6, but without clear progression throughout band 7. Mhm. The second one, cohesion and referencing band 6 cohesions within and between sentences may be faulty and referencing is not used clearly. And referencing, which means you said that something, let's see, a, a, a few things like cars related to transport, some stuff, and the next sentence you shouldn't say again these words. You should say they or these or those stuff like that. This is just referencing, and if you don't know, guys, what is actually referencing. And the third one, a lack of a clear central topic in each paragraph. This is present from band 7 onwards. Great. Which means you got the point, and it's not clear enough, and you're not able to divide your ideas into some paragraphs. Yeah. Understanding the task. Writing task 2 is a formal discursive essay in which you must present a fully developed position in response to the issue raised in the question band 9 task response. This means clearly explain your own thoughts and ideas about the issue and organizing them to that they present a clear argument. Got the point. The word argument has a very particular meaning here. In the context of a discursive essay, it means the reasons you believe something to be true. In the IELTS, your argument will explain the reasons why you hold the position you claim to hold. This may mean explaining the reasons why you agree or disagree with an idea, explaining the reasons why you believe the advantages of something outweigh the disadvantages. Explain the reasons why something is a problem and what you believe could be a good solution. The next one, explaining the reasons why you believe that certain effects make a development positive or negative, and explaining why you believe a proposed solution is or is not the best or only way to deal with a problem. Great. The words in a bold show the elements that are often left undeveloped or that remain unclear in a typical Band 6 essay. As we will see in later lessons, candidates below Band 7 often attempt to explain their reasons, but these explanations are not always clearly connected to the position they claim to hold, or not always relevant to the issue in the question. Next topic is about planning and critical thinking and why planning and critical thinking are important for IELTS. In my view, the issues related to task response due to a lack of thinking and planning. I suspect that some people believe that once your language level is high enough, you no longer need to plan or barely need to plan at all. The reality is that humans don't think in clear or coherent paragraphs or arguments. Our thoughts are not always logical and they don't always connect logically together. This is why no one can simply sit down and write a clear, coherent discursive essay. You must always engage in critical thinking to sort through your ideas and plan out your argument first. Without doing this, the writing you produce will be confusing and unclear to your reader, no matter what your spoken language level is. So there's a vocabulary note. The word critical often has a negative meaning. It can mean finding faults or problems in something. Critical thinking is not a negative idea. It's about evaluating and judging ideas. It's not about finding errors. Great. I don't have time to plan like that. Yeah, there are some candidates that I heard, they're talking about. I don't have any time to plan. Instead of I should real quick ready to write introduction and I just start writing the each paragraphs, body paragraphs, which means you start making mistake in this case. In order to get higher band score beforehand, you should make a good planning to write an essay. So I don't have time to plan like that. In the test, thinking and planning are often done quickly in order to begin writing as soon as possible. If you do this, although you may gather some evidence, you will miss out a very important step. Without evaluating this evidence, you cannot see which ideas should be left out, where more explanations is needed, or how to use these ideas to construct an argument. When uh, when candidates plan quickly, they tend to present evidence that does not support their argument, or they present an argument with a little or no evidence at all, which means they start writing uh, very quickly, and while they are writing, you're presenting their ideas, they don't have any proof or evidence to prove their position, which means they lead to more harder the reader. So don't make it quick. Just take a deep breath and start planning your essay into from beginning to the end. That would be great, and you can finish your writing very quickly with a great progression. When the candidates plan quickly, they tend to present evidence that does not support their argument, or they present an argument with a little or no evidence at all. In other words, They produce a band 6 answer where conclusions remain unclear and some ideas are inadequately developed. If you believe that you cannot afford to spend more time planning, then you need to be sure you can afford to keep retaking the test. Yeah, that's what I thought. And if you mm, make some practices, you are able to make good planning no more than 10 minutes. Yeah, it's all the 10 minutes is enough to make a good planning from beginning to the end. 10 minutes is perfectly okay. And if you good at to planning, you need to like 7 or 7 or 8 minutes is enough to make a good planning. So planning is essential for making a good essay. Key idea: if you don't apply a critical thinking to writing task 2, you will not achieve band 7. If you believe that you cannot afford to spend more time thinking and planning, then you need to be sure you can afford to keep retaking the test. Yeah. Um, when discourage yourself with a lack of ideas and not getting the desirable score in the IELTS, you're start thinking taking the test in coming months or something stuff like that. So don't panic, as I said. Just start planning thoroughly. Development and progression. The task response creation tells us that to score band 6, a candidate's essay must present a relevant position, although there might be some inadequately developed or unclear main ideas. Yeah. So don't give an idea. Just, at first, yeah, give an idea and try to explain fully. And without explaining this, don't give the second idea. So this means you need to get a 6 band score from writing. So development and progression. The task response creation tells us that the score band 6 a candidate's essay must present at the relevant position, although there might be some inadequately developed or unclear main ideas. To reach band 7, candidates answers must present a clear position throughout, and for band 8 and band 9, a well-developed or fully developed response must be produced in terms of coherence and cohesion to score band 6. There must be a clear overall sense of progression that is missing at band 5, but to reach band 7 or above, this progression must be clear throughout your essay. Yeah. These ideas these ideas of progression and development are connected to your argument. Progression refers to the way that your argument progression from one main idea to the next. It can be seen through the way that you organize and connect your individual ideas to create one complete or fully developed argument. A common problem I see is a good introduction and first body paragraph, then a confusing or problematic second body paragraph, and a very brief conclusion. The overall effect of these elements is judged in task response. Mhm. Mhm. The coherence and cohesion creation is used to assess how clearly the different elements of your essay are connected and organized. If you fail to clear show the connections between your ideas, then you are unlikely to reach above band 6 in right task response or coherence and cohesion. The criteria make this very clearly. Yet, when I point out such problems in people's essay, they often resist my advice. Their comments and reasoning may help show why these problems are so difficult to address. It's impossible for anyone to begin to learn that which he thinks he already knows. Ancient Greek philosopher Epictetus, stuff like that. Yeah. So the second part of this lesson is how and why you may be practicing band 6 coherence and cohesion. But I know that a paragraph can have an implied or inferred main idea. This response shows that some people aim to write in a way that forces that reader, your examiner, to infer their main ideas rather than stating them clearly and directly. If you are writing in this way, then you are not meeting the criteria that the examiner will use to address your level. Anytime there is a lack of a clear central idea in your paragraphs, you are practicing staying at a band 6 for coherence and cohesion. I want to produce writing like that, the academic reading passages. Some people aim to produce writing at the same level as academic reading passages. However, these are not discursive essays. The aim and the style of writing is different to that which you must produce in writing test 2. In a reading test, the passages are chosen because they are good resources for assessing high level reading skills such as understanding inferences. Inference. Look at this paragraph from a section 3 reading passage in Cambridge IELTS 9, page 25. You might wonder how we can tell whether fossil animals live on land or in water, especially if only fragments are found. Sometimes it's obvious. I don't know how to read this word. Let's try. Inchesteratosaurus, stuff like that, were reptilian contemporaries of the dinosaurs, with fins and stemlined bodies. The fossils look like dolphins, and they surely lived like dolphins in water. With turtles, it's a little less obvious. Now read the following version what you notice. You might wonder how we can tell whether fossil animals live on the land or in water, especially if only fragments are found. Sometimes it's obvious, for example, Ichthyosaurus, which were reptilian contemporaries of the dinosaurs, had in had fins and stemlined bodies. Their fossils look like dolphins, and they surely lived like dolphins in water. However, with turtles, like a little it is a little less obvious. In the second version, I added cohesive devices that make it much easier for a reader to follow the main idea. These were not deleted by the test writers to increase the reading difficulty. It's a stylistic feature of the original article and represents a common style of writing. Mm-hmm. Great. Using authentic passages like this is a large part of what makes the IELTS reading test valid. However, while using form of clear signposting reduces the difficulty of a reading passage, it does not reduce the level of writing. The second version is still band 9. When we are testing reading, we are assessing your ability to understand complex text, not modeling the type of writing. However, type of writing you should produce in a discursive essay. If you are copying this style of writing rather than showing your ability to connect your ideas, you are setting a reading test for examiner. So which means don't try to copy some structures, structures like stuff from reading passages. Yeah, it might be some academic and more complex. That does not mean it's may suitable for your writing. So writing is a, you should produce something from yourself, not copying or learning some structures from different sources. But um, aren't words like firstly, secondly, in addition, just unnecessary fillers or cliches? Okay. When I have suggested ways to connect ideas more clearly, some people have replied, sure, but but isn't it a bit of a cliche to use words like the letter or firstly, etc. Again, this resistance to do what is needed to improve coherence and cohesion may help you to explain why this problem is so persistent. The answer is no. It is not a cliche to clearly show how your ideas are connected. In fact, many of the academics I follow on Twitter who supervise PhD students and edit journals often mm, bemoan the fact that so of the academic papers they think lack the signposting need to make the connections between ideas clearer. So the problems in this cause go beyond in the IELTS test. The brief that words and phrases like this should be avoided may come from following bad advice. I was recently sent a image of a list of words and phrases that a website had declared were unnecessary language fillers. The list is a confusing mix of phrases that should indeed be avoided because they are either inaccurate or too informal. From my perception in recent days, I guess, while other phrases on the list are useful cohesive devices. First of all, nowadays, on the other hand, some people believe stuff like that. This is a very good reminder that you must always look for reliable sources of information. So just don't to be obsessed with adding some fillers like firstly like stuff like that. It's not as important as all the cases. Yes, use some connective devices like stuff like that, like on the one hand, on the other hand, some people believe that and don't go some using some cliches in a nutshell or stuff like that. And I try to give the stuff you know some connectors while we make mistake or error while we're using IELTS writing test too. So we keep going. Mm-hmm. So key idea: the language that you learn from the language that you learn forms an essential toolkit for your writing. Deciding that some of these tools should be avoided is like a master building declaring, I'd never use a hammer to hit a nail. Everyone does that. It is such a cliche. A master builder would always use the right tool for the job. In IELTS, you must do the same to show that you have mastered the skill of writing. Okay. Underuse of cohesive devices. As we have seen, when native speakers write, they do not always use conjunctions and adverbial linking words and phrases to clearly indicate how ideas are connected. This link must sometimes be inferred by a reader. The previous two sentences demonstrate this idea. When a native speaker writes, they do not always use conjunctions and adverbials linking words and phrases to clear indicate how ideas are connected. This link must sometimes be inferred by the reader. In these sentences, the reader has to understand a connection that is not made explicit through a linking phrase. Nevertheless, there is a clear cohesion here through the use of referencing and meaning. Referencing, they came like when native speakers write, Z is a referencing, and the second sentence started with referencing by this. Uh, yeah, nevertheless, there is a clear cohesion here through the using of referencing and meaning. The first two words of the second sentence, this link, stuff like I said, refer back to how ideas are connected. Yeah, making a separate connecting phrase unnecessary. However, using one will not lower the score. It simply makes the connection clearer. When a native speakers write, they do not always use conjunctions and adverbial linking words and phrases to clear indicate how ideas connected. As a result, this link must sometimes be inferred by a reader. Adding a connecting word or phrase like this can be especially helpful when more complex ideas are behind and explained. They act as a clear signposts, helping the reader to follow the progress of your argument or over several sentences or paragraphs. We can only omit such words and phrases when two sentences are very clearly linked in other ways through their meaning or referencing. The following example from a sample essay found online shows the cohesion problem when this is not the case. People are working longer hours than ever before. In addition, they have more job pressures. People willing to place themselves under these unfavorable conditions. The workforce is a competitive domain. The first two sentences in this extract are clearly connected, but the last two sentences are not. There is no cohesion, and so we cannot infer the link between these ideas. In the coherence and cohesion band descriptors, this problem is referred to in band 7, which means uses a range of cohesive devices appropriately, although there might be some underuse. However, it's important to note that this is a negative point. It's not something you should aim for in order to score band 7. The same problem is also linked to band 6 task response because these ideas are not developed. The writer does not explain why these 80 ideas are relevant or how they are connected, and there is no evidence given to support them. Consequently, they remain unclear and do not help to develop an argument. Mhm. So, why do native speakers sometimes leave out connecting words and phrases? Native speakers do not omit these words and phrases because they are unnecessary language fillers. They may sometimes omit to avoid repetition or to reduce the number of words on the page, which is often necessary when writing a long document with a strict word limit. Remember, skilled writers are able to link their ideas together in other ways through referencing, using synonyms, and providing contextual clues. However, with some examples, it is also possible that the writer has left out useful connecting words and phrases because they have not been taught how to use them effectively. Mhm. Key idea: if you omit a clear signposting words or and phrases, you are forcing the examiner to work harder to follow your argument and ideas. This is not sometimes something you should aim for if you are preparing for IELTS writing. When the ability to show clear coherence and cohesion is being assessed, don't set a reading test for the examiner rather than boosting your score. This is likely to result in band 6 coherence and cohesion. Great. Exam practice. There's exam practice that you can do. Look back through one or two previous essays you have written. Read the body paragraphs and circle each connecting word or phrase. So first you could do, are there more than two sentences in a row without any connector such as however, because, furthermore, as a result, in addition, etc. And second one, do you think you are underusing them? If not, how did you make the connections between your ideas clear? The second one, read your writing aloud to help you see whether you overuse any specific connecting words and phrases. Example, use them repeatedly. So, guys, this is all I have to show, and I hope you guys found some essential, knowledge that you can know or you didn't know before. And I'm also learning with you guys, and I'm sorry for background noise and some pronunciation mistakes. And so, I hope you guys, and again, found some extra, information. So, ciao for now. Bye.